It's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today we are going to be making loom knitted bluebird in a nest. So what we're doing is basically making 4 hats, little hats. So you're going to be using the smallest loom that comes in the standard round set, which is 5.5 inch loom. And then we're going to need the next smallest one that comes in the standard set, and it's about 7 or 7.5 inches in diameter. I also used, I got to go on another project on it already, the little flower loom that I often use the middle for to make like chair booty size project. And so we'll be making 2 of those. And so really what we're doing is you're going to knit a cuffless quote-unquote hat, and I knitted for about 12 inches, and if you notice there is no cuff, so it's just going to be like a big long tube. So let's take that off of the loom first of all, and this is going to be our bluebird. Okay, so we got our little tube off. Alright, so we want to go ahead and draw it up just like you would if you were making a hat. And then do a few stitches to sort of close that. Alright, now we have a long, it's like a long skinny hat. So now we're going to stuff that. We want it to be sort of a loose stuffing because we're going to need to mold him, her, whichever one you want to do, mold him or her. So sort of, as you're doing it, just sort of feel of it. What you're going to have is like a head part right here, and this is going to be a body, and we're going to be putting the wings on it. And we want the body to be a little fuller than the head will be. Maybe a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and do my heads, that way I can sort of get a better idea of what's going on with my body here. So just using the same yarn that the bird is made out of, we'll just wrap it around. That's fine, let's do that. Let's just tie it. So we want his head to stay back. So I'm just going to make a stitch back here on his back and the back of his head. Go through like that. And I'm just going to tie it off. Just so his head stays back here where we want it. So it's just a lot of playing with it. I'm trying to get the breast part. What I want to do is I want to fold my end under. But here's what we're going to do to make the illusion of a tail feather. We're going to fold the top in less than we are going to fold the rest of it. So we have like a little, like it's folded in, but this part sort of molded out so it's like almost like a triangle. It's all folded under. We want to fold that raw edge under, but we want it to be like a tail. See what I'm saying? So fold that under, and we're going to sew that shut at the bottom. Tail part. keep sewing just like you've been doing here. We need this part to be closed. Stick that needle down in there. Come out down there where the tail fold is here. Squish it down. Now we're going to sort of sew across that corner triangle just to give it a little bit of definition. Come across the top when you get to the top. Do about an inch down and then do it tight. Loop over the top and do it tight, and it's just going to cinch it up just enough to make it look like a little bit of a tail there. Over here, I don't like what his head is doing, so I'm going to put a second stitch on this side. Now I'm going to squish him around a little bit here. Starting to look like a bird. Alright, now we've done these two long, quote-unquote, chair booties. And I did mine, each one, I did 5 inches long. And I knew they were going to be longer than I wanted. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to have room to play around with how they look when I get them on the bird. So I'm just going to put, I don't want to put a ton of stuffing. I just want to put enough to give them a little bit of, see, they're sort of flat. Okay. Alright, and now I'm going to roll in the top, and this is where I can control the length. And I don't want to do it yet, I want to leave it, so I want to make them sure they're the same. So if you wanted to, you could use felt. So I'm just going to position him on the bird. Now I'm going to make a stitch just underneath here just to hold this wing against the side of the body. The other one on. We have wings. He's starting to look like a little bird. For the beak, now I have a piece of, it was a part of a Valentine's heart. It's that thicker felt. Triangle of it. You can just do like a loop, you know, like just sew on a triangle with orange yarn, or you could use felt like I'm doing, and I'm just going to, since it's this thicker, stiffer yarn felt, it should give it a 3D effect. Now he has a beak, and then let's do some, just for his eyes, I'm just going to do 2 little Bluebird. He's cute, I think. Okay, now let's make his nest. Now on the nest, I used 3 different kinds of yarn because I wanted to give a very textured look to my nest. If you've ever looked at a nest, you know there's twigs and all kinds of stuff stuck in there. This bumpy yarn, I used a dark brown that was sort of a variegated different colors, and then just a regular sort of thicker brown. It's just like a hat, and there's a cuff on this one, and it turned out to be 6 or 6.5 inches long. So a tube with a cuff, so it's just, you're making a hat. 6.5 inch long hat as well. Let's get our needle and take this off the loom. The cuff is important on this because it's going to give the nest a little bit of structure. When we make it, we're going to roll that into the nest, so it will be a little stiffer around the top and it will stay firm. So let's get this off of the loom. We're going to draw it up just like we would a hat. And as usual, do a few stitches to cinch up that hole in the center. So we have a hat, a little hat. Looks like a newborn or a child hat. So now I'm going to take it and sort of do it as flat as possible. Take that brim. We're going to roll it in. And you're going to see that the cuff is giving it sort of, it's almost like I can push and it's, you know, it's firmer. If you didn't have the cuff, it would just roll right in, but the cuff makes it have a shape. And we're going to try to do it as flat as we can there. And it will look like almost like a flat bowl. And since I did the thicker yarns, it feels, you'll probably want to use as thicker yarns or multiple yarns as you can. And you can see that cuff down in there. So there's our little nest. And now we put our little bird. And this is one of the reasons why we wanted them sort of loosely packed, because we're going to sort of pack them down in there. Now you could sew them in if you wanted to. Now, if you wanted to do a larger toy, you could make them bigger. Just use the nest, unless you want a great big nest and you want room around them, or you want multiple birds in a nest. Sort of, I wanted him to sort of fit right on his nest, so I used the two corresponding sizes. If you want to do a big nest with multiple birds, then use the small one for your bird. Do 2, 3 birds or whatever, and you lay down your looms and see what it looks like. So if you wanted to do 2 or 3, you're probably going to need the big, what's the big yellow one, that one that's like for tote bags and stuff. But this is just I just wanted a little bird that sits on a big nest. And if I was giving this to a kid, I would probably sew it all together, but obviously it's just going to go sit on my plant stand. So that's an easy little bluebird that we loom knitted in his own little nest, and it's a nice little spring toy or spring decoration.